Welcome back to Riven, and today this should be the last part of the series. We have trapped Gehn in the linking book, and we are on our way to rescue Catherine. But first, there was a couple of things we were going to do. We're going to look at this book here and the journal below before we move on. And this book here, I thought it was a journal, but actually, you can see that it's a linking book that Gehn has been working on, but it has no active link. It's not powered, doesn't work, so that's a mystery. We'll never know what that was. And you can see, as we looked before, Gehn's implements of writing all over the desk here. We looked through these before, ink and various things that he uses to create the linking books. And we're just going to go and look at Gehn's journal here. Here is a power system for these linking books there on the left. It's some sort of similar to the kind of fire marbles. It's basically a power system. You can see we can turn this off, I believe. There we go. And then I believe in so doing, the actual books themselves will no longer function. No real reason. There we are. You can see the lights have gone out around the linking books. They don't work anymore. And perhaps this is what Gehn would do to maybe conserve energy, turns it off when they're not required, or to protect himself from being linked to, perhaps. So some kind of power condenser, similar to the fire marble puzzle that powers the books back on Riven. Anyway, let's go down here, and I'm going to read Gehn's journal. And again, as always, I'll drop a little link for you guys who don't want to listen to the journal, but they are very interesting. They give you a lot of information about... Can we open this drawer? Yeah, look at that. Some clothes there. So let's read what Gehn has got to say. I start this latest journal with astonishing news, or astounding news even. Catherine has returned to the 5th Age, and though it sets my teeth on edge to say it, she has also vanished as quickly as she appeared, stolen from me by the rebels. As my guard tells it, she linked into the Fisher plateau cage, as I'd guessed, that's where we started, when suddenly he was set upon by a band of rebels who darted him and spirited her away. I suspect the truth of the matter was that he was so dumbfounded at actually witnessing someone link in after all this time that he presented an easy target for whichever rebel had happened by at that moment. The damnable luck of it. He did get a good enough look at her, though, so to verify it was indeed Catherine. He also claims that he inspected all... not going that way... of her belongings and found no linking book on her person. A fact which, if true, makes the question of why she's returned here all the more puzzling. While I'm sick with frustration at having lost the only quarry that Cage has ever caught, I also am filled with hope she may yet provide me with a way back to Dunny. It is true that I have managed, despite overwhelming odds, to break free of the confines of the 5th Age and resume my mission to save my culture from extinction. And we know that in the past the Dunny people suffered a horrific sort of extermination by, was it a plague, I believe, and Gehn sees it as his mission to sort of reignite the Dunny and sort of get things going again, which is admirable were it not for his other misguided traits. But I fear that unless I'm able to regain access to the vast resources that lie in the city ruins of Dunny, the task of reconstructing that great civilization will be impossible, not to mention the fact of having any people to do it. If Catherine did bring a linking book with her, then I'm halfway there. If not, then she is trapped in the 5th Age, which we know she is, stupidly, and I can assume that my emotionally crippled son will soon be along to rescue her. Either way, it is crucial to my plans that I find her soon. Her presence here now forces me to take the rebels more seriously. I should never have permitted them to survive this long. Once again, the Great Walk has demonstrated its usefulness to me. This past week the villagers have been most difficult to manage. Apparently, they have learned of Catherine's arrival, and their fear of this mythic beast has been all that has kept them in line. Had I known how truly useful these prodigious creatures would prove to be, I would have perhaps captured more of them while the local population was still plentiful. Although, to be sure, if these disturbances continue, my current pets will be no longer perishing for lack of nourishment. So we can take from this that basically the platform that we discovered, the execution platform, Gehn has been more than happy enough to use that to dangle the villagers and allow walks to sort of slaughter them, basically. The search for Catherine continues. I now deeply regret my mistake of having ever taught these primitive people anything at all about the books. It seems that with each passing day I more sorely realise the extent to which they were not ready for that knowledge, not even in the simplified manner in which I presented it to them. Their minds, adapted only to the exceptionally menial tasks of village life, were incapable of comprehending the art in all its complexity, which is ironic, really, seeing as Gehn himself doesn't really understand the whole process, and thus were unable to extract the essential underlying principles that are, ironically, so elegantly simple. It is obvious that much of the discord that exists between us stems from their failure to grasp the full meaning of the information I gave them. If they'd been able to gain even the smallest glimpse of the future I had planned for them, then this conflict would not exist. The minds of children are much more malleable. With the proper instruction, they have developed a more appropriate posture towards the culture that gave them their lives. At times they take it to almost as if they had a bit of dunny blood in them. Given the natives' inborn limitations, however, I am quite careful that none gain a level of understanding that would permit them to sin against their future the way that Catherine did. How foolish I was to think that she could contain such knowledge responsibly, when it was quite clear that my own son could not. Atreus. Still he remains one of my greatest disappointments of my life. I should never have left him with my mother. By the time I'd returned for him, he had already been poisoned as to all sorts of the dunny. Perhaps it was the only way she could rationalise the fact that she had been responsible for the collapse of their civilization. So much destruction, so many great lives lost. The guilt must have been unbearable. I do have vague recollections of the love she had for my father and for our world, but ultimately she was an outsider whose ignorance of the dunny became the catalyst for their demise. If I am able to rebuild our culture and in the process correct such crucial weaknesses, then perhaps what she did was ultimately necessary, in order that a new era of prosperity might someday come to pass. These last few weeks I have found myself frequently beset by images from the past. As I stood in the schoolroom today, I was reminded of my own childhood, the years I spent in the Bookmakers Guild, father's immense pride at each of my small accomplishments there. He was an important man in the dunny world, but I can't bear to think of him for long. It's too much, and I was too young to see such a thing. I've got her! Late last night I received word that Catherine was in the village attempting to persuade the people to join her. I lost 2 good men in the process, but I would have paid 100 times that number for such a prize. She's been taken to the prison island, where I've been attempting to gain some insight as to the reason for her presence here. I've had to fight the all but constant impulse to put her on the gallows, and now we start to see that Gehn is really not a very nice person at all. She's adopted the most infuriating stance of only answering my questions when she answers them at all in her native tongue. Even so, she's a poor liar. I am now quite certain that her return to Riven was unintentional and that she brought no linking book with her. As far as her unwillingness to share with me the location of the moiety, we shall see. Without their leader, however, they are once again powerless against me. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, then Atreus is bound to come for her. That is a given. The question I must now consider is, how will he do it? It is likely that his hesitation has been due, at least in part, to the dilemma. One way or another, though, he'll have to bring a linking book to get back to Dunny, and there is no other way, and of course this is how we have trapped Gehn. It's late and I cannot sleep. I've lost so much in my life. My people, my father, my son, and you, my wife, Kata. You are the only true kindness I have ever known. Watching you flicker there in the imager, I sometimes wonder if you were real. If I could restore your life with my pen, I would do so in an instant, and leave the rest of the world to their own wretched fate. Damn these savages. I would be well advised to leave them in the 5th age and begin again with a clean sheet of paper. A stranger has arrived on Riven with a linking book to Dunny, and that's obviously us. And once again my useless minion was overtaken by the rebels. From what little I could decipher from his muddled explanation, it apparently occurred sometime this morning. The cage has been damaged, but it is no matter. Everything I need here is now. Atris is certainly behind this. Yet how could he be so foolish as to send someone here with a linking book? Such blatancy is unlike him. Could it be that he has found a change of heart? After all these years, is he finally letting his poor father go? No, he's only after one thing, and perhaps he should find her. For now, I need only to wait and observe. And this potentially is the end, I believe. There we go. So he was just waiting for us to make our move, and we did so. Right, now we can move back, and we're really very close to the end now. So it gives us a little insight into Gehn that, as we suspected, he's very quick to sort of talk about things, but he really isn't all there. Right, now we have to link back to the prison island. Oh yeah, that's right, I figured out what this thing does. There's this lever that I couldn't get to work before. Whatever the hell it is. Over here. And what it does is it allows you to kind of go back this thing here. So we click on it. And it brings down the cage. Which of course allows us then to travel through to Prison Island and back to Riven as well. Gotta remember which one of these books. Oh, it's this one, yeah. Okay. So all the books have the islands stamped onto them, depending on which one they are. This one right here is obviously the prison, because it's the singular island, and this is where we need to be going to. And if we needed any doubt, it gives us a little preview, as always, the linking books, showing us where we are going to. And this is the dome we will travel to. So I'll see you in a moment on the prison island. And here we are on Prison Island, and it's time to save Catherine and get the hell out of here. So let's click on the release. This will stop the machinery for us. Here we are, to allow us to escape. Now we needed to remember the code to release Catherine. And this is obviously also the site of the Great Tree of Riven, which Gehn has very sadly chopped down in place of his little laboratory hideout here. And here we are. Now, I have noted down in my Riven journal the key code. And here is the, you can see this links up above. It's actually this little thing right here. So, let's see what they sound they make. Right, so it's click, were, ping. Right, let's see what we wrote down in my Riven notes. So it was ping, click, ping, clap, clap. So it's the, this has got to be the click. Yeah. And then that's, okay. So I think it's, okay, so I think it's, no it's not, it's, so it's ping, click. Let's see if that's right. I don't know if this is one of these things where I can only do it one time, so I may have to kind of go away and go back onto it. This could be wrong. I think I have a feeling. Yeah. I think I'm getting this wrong. I think it's going to be That's it. I knew it was one or the other. Right, let's go. Oh, we are going up already. I don't even need to pull the lever, apparently. It's all automated. Clever Gehn. And we approach our victory. Come on, Catherine, let's get out of here. Back to the Starfisher. Hello.
We have to move quickly. Gehn's people may already know what's happening. Once we're back with the moiety, we'll have time to regroup. Can I see the book? You did it. We're all free.
Indeed, let's go.
You captured Gehn.
I did, yes.
But there's still his followers. I'm not sure what they'll do once they realize he's gone. I'll have to get the villagers to safety as soon as possible. You go back to the Temple Island and reopen the fissure. I know it's risky, but it's the only way to signal Atris. I'll try to make it back there as soon as I can, but don't wait for me. Don't forget, the portal combination's in my journal. Good luck.
I don't know why more games don't use live action in their games. I mean, it's awesome. It's interesting as well when you think about how old this game is, because this game is really old. And when you look at how they utilize live action in these games, and I know that these games are kind of consisted of stills, but the level of graphics in these games is crazy. Like, seriously, I remember when I first played this game, and it was back on the PlayStation 1, and it would have been for the PC before that. I mean, just the level of detail. I mean, even now, it still looks really good. I mean, it's pixelated a bit, you know, because it's an older game and stuff, but it still looks really, really good. I mean, if they remade like HD version of this game, it would be mind-blowing. And obviously there have been other Mists and so since, and the PS2 one, Mist 3, which I also own, is really, really, really good game. Now we have to stop this bloody thing, because Catherine has started it up. There we go. Now, annoyingly for me, this book actually will take us, I believe, back to Gehn's age, and then we have to then go from there back to Riven, so this is kind of a slightly laborious process. God damn it, if I can remember this code. Isn't it like 20... I'm going to get this wrong. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Isn't it like 2015... 5... Oh, I'm going to have to look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head. I thought I could remember, but I don't know if I can. See, this is why you need a journal, because otherwise you have no hope. Too many scraps of paper, too many sketchings and writings. People said they wanted to see my Riven journal. I may put this into the game edit just at the end for you guys to see. It's nothing particularly interesting, it's just my scrawlings and so on. Here we are, it's 2313 1620, okay. 2313 1620. Oh wait, 16. 10, 1, 2, 3. Wait, that's not it. It wants to be one there. One there. Right, that's it. 10, 1, 2. Let's just double check because I don't want to get this wrong. 2, 3. That's it. Swish, budget, dunk, click, check, bong. Here we go. Powered up, ready to go. Talking about keeping journals, I always used to love. When I was younger, I had this series of books when there wasn't so many portable handheld games devices. I used to have these books, and they are like adventure books. I should look and see if I got them somewhere. I really don't know if I still do. And you had to keep like a track of your stats, and then you used the book, and the book would tell you, and you'd roll some dice and stuff to figure out what to do and things. And it was just a really, really fun, enjoyable thing. I used to love it when I was a kid anyway. Also, thinking about things that require sort of recording of stats and information. I don't know if this is really off topic, but I'm just relating it to the whole keeping of a journal thing. Sorry if it's a bit off topic. I was thinking about tabletop gaming and how that also is sort of involved. This whole thing of the process of kind of recording and sort of gaming and enjoying. Anyway, let's get back to the Fifth Age. Okay, here we are back on the Fifth Age, and we're trapped again, of course. The bloody cage has come back, but luckily we don't need to worry about that. It doesn't impact on us. And please God, let this be the right one. I think this is the right book. What the hell? Page is torn out. So I guess we can't go back that way. That's a bit worrying. It won't be there. Won't be there. Maybe here. Please let this be the way home. It is. There we go. Interesting that other one was torn though. Here we go, and it's travelling us through. And we see the large dome above us. And here is the linking dome. So let's go through, and I'll see you back on Riven. Right, well here we are back on Riven, and it's a race against time to signal Atris. We've got to get back to the Starfisher. So we're going to take the by now all too familiar route back to the Starfisher location, back to the very beginning, the original start point of this game. And while we travel back, we can think a little bit about the game itself. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the travels through Riven. I may revisit Mist at some point. Riven and Mist, the worlds of therein. I'll tell you something I'm going to be getting this year is the novels. Again, I have read, but I didn't own the novelizations talking about the world of Dunny, Book of Atris and so on. And they're really worth reading. They're very, very good. Rand Miller and his team. Actually, I should also note as well that the development team behind Mist and Riven are actually working on a new game at the moment, which is really exciting. So they've actually had a Kickstarter for it, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll link that below perhaps as well. Right, let's travel on. Oh, actually, can we go one more up? Can we go up one more? No, because that actually just makes you go down, doesn't it? Yep, okay. Let's travel back. One thing that I love particularly about this series is just the depth of the story, and I've mentioned this quite a few times recently about how the lack of story in some games can be a little, sort of frustrating at best and sort of underwhelming at worst. And often games seem to be obsessed with having these mechanical elements in order to sort of further the story. You see games like Broken Sword, which, for sure they do have an element of mechanics there in terms of puzzle solving, in the same way that Riven does, but what the hell? Why is the bridge down? Why is the bridge down? The bridge should not be down. Huh. Who would have put the bridge down? That's weird. Not that it matters right now anyway, but it's just kind of curious. We can lower this down. I can't imagine why Catherine would have retracted that bridge. That bridge should have been extended. I'm curious. It always freaks me out in game. Maybe it's because they wanted you to do the process of dropping this bridge rather than going the other way around. Sort of cinematic effect. It always freaks me out though in games where you come back to somewhere and something has changed and you haven't seen it happen. It always spooks me because then you know someone else is around. Here we are back in the original room, the very first room that we saw in Riven, with the all too classic scarab beetles. Such a beautiful mechanic in these. And here's a little scarab beetle when you open it up. There we go. And then you look inside. It's such a fantastic concept. We have a little look here, and again remember we see snapshots of Ghehn's working on the island, forcing the people of Riven to construct and mechanically produce his books for his bookbinding. I'm not going to go through them all. If you want to see this, you can go back to the very first episodes. But I just love the mechanic of that. There we go. But luckily with the indie gaming world, there's so many more games with narrative bases coming out, which is wonderful, and I really should play some more. If you're interested in watching me play more of these kind of games, then you need to subscribe to Luetin Gaming, not this main channel, because this main channel is not going to be focused so much on this now. I'm doing this to complete this series, but from here on, all of these style games and narratives will be on my other channel, Luetin Gaming, and that will be linked below in the notes, guys. So be sure to go and subscribe there. It's going to be an ever-growing channel, and I have a really good dialogue with the people that follow me there. Right, let's complete our final puzzle. The Starfisher. It's not a difficult one. Now remember we read from Catherine's journal about the mechanical stop guard, which prevents the thing, and we can see this over here actually. Down here we are, we see the little mechanical stop in place. We have to open that up in order to get this to work properly. Otherwise it won't work as we need it to. Now we need to unlock the hatch first. And remember Catherine said that this was in her journal. Luckily, having read her journal, we already have the code, which I now consult my notebook for. And looks like... I'll find my number system. It is 33133. Kind of an unusual code. 3, 3, 1, 3, 3. And remember, this code will be unique to every game you play. So if you play, it will not be that code. You'll have to figure it out for yourself from reading Catherine's journal. And here we are. That's the void, the Starfisher void. And we can look into the Starfisher, as we have done before. And here you can see the void of stars below. But remember, as Atris said, it's not a dangerous place. It's like a flowing river that carries you. Anyway, now, depending on which way this lever is facing, if it's up or down, that will determine the the way that this viewer port travels. And so what we're going to do now is click down. I'm going to click down. Even further down. And down again. And then we're going to push it right through the limit. See the massive gravity power, the fissure pulling down. And here, finally, Atris comes to greet us. Riven seems sadly doomed.
There isn't much time. Where's Catherine? Where's the book?
Atris!
I don't have...
The villagers are safely in the Rebel Age.
Oh, thank God.
I thank you.
As do I. You've accomplished more than I could have hoped for.
Hmm.
You've given me back my life. The path home is now clear for all of us.
We need to get out of here as quickly as possible, though. So Catherine has allowed them to travel through to the Rebel Age Moiety, or Tay. And she goes into the book.
This is where our paths must part.
Hmm.
Perhaps we'll meet again someday.
Perhaps we will.
You know where to find me.
Farewell, Atris.
Goodbye, my friend.
Atris allowing the book to fall into the fissure, and then... so do we. Into the abyss. I somehow always feel like I don't fully trust Atris's intention at the end, whether he knows or has a purpose for us to drift into this void, because as we will remember from Mist, this is where we begin in the world. Anyway, we completed our mission, we trapped Gehn.
Now I understand. Endings and beginnings are within the fissure. That riven cleft of stars that acts as both a wall and a bridge. And though I am unable to understand how, the very flow of stars that brought my Mist book into worthy hands, I am sure served as a safe passage home for my friend. The age of Riven is closed forever, but the people of Riven are free. And now I am at rest, understanding that in books and ages and life, the ending can never truly be written.
So there we are. That is Riven. Super enjoy this game. I think it's an amazing title. I wish that there were more games out there which had this style to them. I wish there were more games out there that had such a detailed narrative and such a complex puzzle process that really made the viewers think to the point of frustration. Something that's always very good about Riven is that its level of logic. You have to have a huge keen sense of logic in order to sort of function the puzzles through, and when you watch a playthrough by someone who knows how to do the puzzles, and actually I was quite surprised that I only completed this game one time, and it's been a good 10 years minimum since I last played this game through, but I was able to remember pretty much most of the things in the game and some of the others we figured out along the way, so I was very pleased with this playthrough. I hope that you guys have enjoyed. I massively enjoyed the game. The Starfisher ending is curious. There are multiple alternate endings which I may look at some point if you guys really want me to, but it may be something else to do in the new year. The Starfisher ending, I always think it's very interesting how you fall into the starfish, you see all the stars around you, and we know that the linking books kind of link to alternate realities, alternate universes, and these kind of places. So I often wonder, you look into that Starfisher, whether the stars represent these different places of linking, and perhaps that is the purpose of this void space. It's like the bridge between worlds, and after all, that's how the Mist book. Also, a very curious thing, whether this is just about traveling, or whether there's a time and space element, because let's not forget, Mist, the book fell through the void, and you found the book and then used it to link to Mist. Now, at the end, we see Atreus drop the book into the void. So, which way around, and how does things work? The storyline of these games is extremely complex by the standards of most games, which often are fairly simplistic by comparison. But that's one of the things that hugely appeals to me about Riven, this idea you kind of really get into the narrative, you pulled into it, and all the other elements of it, the fact that it's kind of still motion gameplay, seem to be irrelevant when you have such strength of story in there. And I can't think of particularly many other games that have a similar level of narrative, and I really wish that they did. There was the classic question that was given to me the other day about, imagine if Tomb Raider didn't have all the sort of violence in it, and it was more just a narrative and puzzle solving. That would be a really interesting game. That would be a game that I would play, and I hope that in the future we do see these a lot more of these complex puzzle titles. So this has been my playthrough of Riven, guys. I hope you've massively enjoyed. If you want to see me do more playthroughs on a similar vein, be sure to subscribe at Luetin Gaming, and I'll see you next time for Mist 3.